one that aides tried to downplay and courtiers quickly silenced. But the look on Princess Catherine's face as she exited that private meeting said, everything the palace couldn't. Something was wrong, and it involved Charlotte. What was first dismissed as a rumor soon turned into a royal firestorm, now confirmed by the very people who fought to protect it. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. At first, almost nobody outside the palace understood the significance of what had happened. The meeting itself was never meant to attract attention. It was scheduled quietly, away from the usual royal calendar, and attended by only a handful of trusted figures. Yet within hours, whispers began spreading through royal circles. Catherine, normally composed under immense pressure, appeared deeply unsettled afterward. Those who claimed to have observed the mood surrounding Kensington Palace described an atmosphere unlike anything seen in recent months. Questions multiplied rapidly, but answers remained frustratingly out of reach. Reports soon emerged that William and Catherine had spent several hours in discussion with medical advisors regarding Princess Charlotte. The details remained closely guarded, fueling even more speculation. Palace aides were reportedly instructed to maintain complete silence, an unusual move in an institution where carefully managed statements are often used to calm growing concerns. Instead of reassurance, there was only uncertainty. Every unanswered question seemed to create three new ones. The absence of information became a story in itself, and the mystery surrounding Charlotte only deepened. As concern spread, attention turned toward Catherine. Those familiar with royal life understood that her reactions were rarely impulsive. Yet insiders claimed she appeared unusually shaken after the meeting, as though she had just received news carrying consequences far beyond the present moment. Her silence spoke louder than any official statement could. Behind closed doors, conversations reportedly intensified. Advisors moved carefully. Senior household figures became increasingly protective. The deeper people looked, the more they sensed that this situation extended beyond a routine family matter. Then came another moment that fueled public fascination. Later that evening, William was reportedly seen spending private time with Charlotte. To some observers, it appeared to be nothing more than a father comforting his daughter. To others, it felt like evidence that something significant had changed. Rumors spread rapidly across media circles. Royal commentators began revisiting earlier reports from previous weeks, pointing to subtle signs that, in hindsight, seemed impossible to ignore. Several insiders even suggested that concerns regarding Charlotte had been quietly building long before the public became aware of them. But beneath the growing concern over her well-being, another theory began taking shape. It started as little more than a whisper among palace watchers, yet it refused to disappear. According to emerging speculation, the sudden secrecy surrounding Charlotte was connected to discussions about her future within the monarchy itself. What if the concern was not solely about her present condition? What if it was also about responsibilities, expectations, and a destiny that had been quietly unfolding for years? The possibility sounded extraordinary, yet with every passing day, more people began asking the same question. The palace remained silent, the rumors grew louder, and somewhere behind those carefully guarded walls, decisions were allegedly being made that could reshape the future of the royal family for generations. What initially appeared to be a private matter was beginning to reveal itself as something far larger, something rooted in history, duty, and succession. The pieces were starting to connect, and the picture they formed was more shocking than anyone had imagined. But the chilling truth wasn't just about Charlotte's health. It was tied to a royal legacy that had long been buried until now. Long before the headlines exploded, there had been whispers of a private understanding deep inside royal circles, an understanding few believed would ever become reality. As speculation surrounding Princess Charlotte continued to spread, attention slowly shifted away from the immediate concerns and towards something far more consequential. The deeper palace watchers looked, the more they uncovered fragments of a conversation that seemed to stretch back years. This was no sudden decision born from a single meeting or a temporary crisis. According to persistent whispers circulating among royal insiders, discussions about Charlotte's future had been quietly unfolding long before the public ever suspected a thing. What appeared on the surface to be an unexpected development was, according to the whispers, the result of careful planning, patient observation, and a belief shared by influential figures within the monarchy. For generations, royal succession had followed traditions so deeply rooted that few dared imagine alternatives. Expectations were formed long before children reached adulthood. Futures were often assumed before personalities had fully emerged. Yet there are moments in history when institutions begin looking beyond established patterns and focus instead on character, temperament, and the ability to carry enormous responsibility. It was during those private conversations, reportedly stretching across several years, that Charlotte's name began appearing more frequently in discussions about the monarchy's long-term future. What made those conversations remarkable was not Charlotte's position within the family, but the qualities many believed she possessed. Even at a young age, she was often described as composed under pressure, confident without appearing entitled, and remarkably aware of the expectations surrounding her life. Those observations remained largely private, shared only among trusted advisors and senior figures who paid close attention to the next generation of royals. Over time, those early impressions reportedly evolved into something much bigger. A growing number of voices within royal circles allegedly began viewing Charlotte not simply as a young princess, but as someone uniquely suited for an extraordinary future. Adding even greater weight to those rumors were long-standing stories regarding Queen Elizabeth's admiration for her great-granddaughter. While many details remain impossible to verify, stories persisted that the late monarch saw something special in Charlotte. Not because she was destined for privilege, but because she appeared to understand duty at an age when most children barely comprehend responsibility. Whether those stories were entirely accurate hardly mattered. The belief itself became powerful. It shaped conversations, influenced perceptions, and helped create an image of Charlotte that continued gaining strength behind palace walls. Meanwhile, William and Catherine reportedly approached their daughter's upbringing with unusual care. While protecting her childhood whenever possible, they were also said to be preparing her for responsibilities that extended far beyond ordinary expectations. Every lesson, every experience, and every carefully managed public appearance seemed to contribute to a broader vision. They understood better than anyone the pressures that came with royal life. They knew the cost of public scrutiny, yet insiders claimed they also recognized qualities in Charlotte that could not be ignored. As months became years, those quiet discussions allegedly intensified. What began as occasional observations reportedly evolved into serious conversations about the monarchy's future direction. Senior advisors examined possibilities. Trusted figures weighed long-term consequences. Private assessments became increasingly significant. And somewhere within those confidential exchanges, an unexpected idea began transforming into a genuine possibility. A decision once considered impossible was slowly taking shape behind closed doors, gathering momentum with every passing year. Few outside the inner circle understood what was happening. Fewer still realized how close those discussions were to changing everything. As those private discussions intensified, another family branch began realizing that something was changing, and they were not part of it. At first, the signs seemed small: a missed invitation here, a forgotten consultation there. But inside royal circles, even the smallest exclusion can signal a coming earthquake. For a long time, those subtle changes were easy to dismiss. Royal households are constantly evolving. Guest lists change. Meetings are rearranged. Priorities shift. Yet what made this situation different was the growing pattern that began emerging beneath the surface. According to persistent whispers within royal circles, certain names that once enjoyed comfortable access to influential conversations were appearing less frequently. Doors that had always seemed open suddenly appeared more difficult to enter. Invitations that once arrived automatically allegedly stopped arriving altogether. Individually, these developments meant very little. Together, they painted a picture that became impossible to ignore. It was during this period that attention increasingly turned toward Queen Camilla's family. Reports suggested that members of the Parker Bowles circle were beginning to notice a gradual but undeniable shift in palace dynamics. No dramatic confrontation had taken place. No public announcement had been made. Yet many observers claimed there was a growing sense that influence was quietly being redistributed behind closed doors. The atmosphere surrounding important discussions appeared to be changing, and some individuals who once felt comfortably connected to the heart of royal conversations allegedly found themselves standing further from the center than ever before. Among those reportedly affected was Laura Lopez and her family. While remaining respected members of Camilla's personal circle, whispers suggested they were becoming increasingly absent from conversations involving the monarchy's long-term future. Their names surfaced less often in connection with strategic discussions. Their presence around significant developments appeared less visible. Whether intentional or coincidental, the perception itself began fueling speculation. And in royal life, perception can become almost as powerful as reality. At the same time, another transformation was taking place. The influence of William and Catherine continued to grow steadily. What had once been viewed as the future generation was now increasingly seen as the stabilizing force of the institution. Alongside them stood Princess Anne, whose reputation for duty and unwavering loyalty commanded respect across royal circles. Together, they represented continuity, discipline, and a vision for the monarchy that appeared focused firmly on the years ahead rather than the controversies of the past. As their influence expanded, so too did questions about who would shape the next chapter of royal history. Those questions intensified with every passing week. Courtiers were rumored to be paying closer attention to the direction of power. Alliances appeared to shift. Conversations became more cautious. Certain social connections allegedly weakened as individuals positioned themselves for what many believed was coming. The possibility of a major succession-related announcement no longer seemed like idle gossip. Increasingly, it felt like an approaching reality. The mystery surrounding Charlotte only added fuel to the growing uncertainty. What made the situation especially tense was the lack of official confirmation. The palace remained silent while speculation flourished. Every unexplained decision seemed to generate fresh theories. Every private meeting attracted greater scrutiny. The longer answers were withheld, the more dramatic the rumors became. Some believed Charlotte was simply being prepared for a larger public role. Others suspected something far more significant was unfolding. Regardless of which theory proved correct, one thing became increasingly clear. Powerful forces within the royal family were moving toward a decision that could alter established expectations forever. By now, even those previously dismissive of the rumors had begun paying attention. The signs were no longer isolated incidents. They were pieces of a larger puzzle slowly coming together. Questions about Charlotte's future had evolved from quiet whispers into a subject dominating conversations among insiders. And as anticipation reached a breaking point, the stage was set for the moment that would transform speculation into reality. Then came the meeting that changed everything. A decision so unexpected it sent shockwaves through every corner of the royal household. When the decision was finally revealed, even seasoned royal aides reportedly struggled to believe what they were hearing. For months, rumors had circulated through palace corridors, media circles, and private gatherings. Most people assumed they were exaggerated. Others dismissed them entirely. After all, the monarchy has always been surrounded by speculation, and not every whisper becomes reality. Yet on this occasion, the rumors proved to be only the beginning. When senior figures finally gathered to discuss the matter openly, the reaction was said to be immediate and overwhelming. According to those familiar with the atmosphere surrounding the announcement, there was a moment of near disbelief as the true scope of the decision became clear. What had once existed only as a collection of private conversations was now emerging as an official direction for the future. Discussions reportedly confirmed that Princess Charlotte's role within the monarchy would be elevated in ways few had anticipated. The significance of that development reached far beyond ordinary royal responsibilities. It represented a powerful statement about the future, about continuity, and about the individuals who would eventually help guide the institution into a new era. For some, the decision felt bold. For others, it felt revolutionary. For everyone involved, it was impossible to ignore. The response among senior royals was reportedly mixed. Some reacted with surprise. Others struggled to conceal their disbelief. Certain figures who had spent years operating under traditional assumptions suddenly found themselves confronting a future that looked very different from what they had expected. The shift was not merely symbolic. It carried emotional weight, political implications, and consequences that would ripple through royal relationships for years to come. Every conversation seemed charged with uncertainty. Every reaction appeared to reveal deeper tensions that had remained hidden beneath the surface. Amid the growing storm, William and Catherine reportedly remained united. If the pressure surrounding the decision affected them, they gave little indication of it. According to palace insiders, both understood the enormous responsibility attached to what was unfolding. They also understood the criticism that would inevitably follow. Yet rather than retreating from the controversy, they allegedly embraced their role in shaping the future. Their confidence sent a clear signal throughout the institution. This was not a temporary idea. This was a path they were prepared to defend. Adding further momentum was the reported support of Princess Anne. Long respected for her commitment to duty above personal interests, Anne's backing carried considerable influence. Those familiar with royal dynamics understood the importance of her position. She was viewed by many as one of the monarchy's most trusted guardians. If she supported the direction being taken, it suggested the decision had undergone serious consideration. Her involvement reportedly reassured some who had initially questioned the wisdom of such a dramatic move. Outside palace walls, the situation escalated rapidly. Staff members allegedly found themselves struggling to contain growing public fascination. Media organizations rushed to uncover details. Commentators debated possible consequences. Every new rumor generated fresh headlines. Every silence from the palace fueled even more speculation. What had begun as a carefully managed internal matter was quickly becoming an international story. Public attention shifted almost overnight. Increasingly, conversations centered not on past generations of royals, but on Charlotte herself. As interest intensified, so did the pressure. Supporters celebrated what they viewed as a historic step toward the future. Admirers praised Charlotte's maturity and potential. Yet behind the excitement lurked another reality. Not everyone welcomed the decision. For some individuals, the announcement represented opportunity and hope. For others, it represented loss. Influence was shifting. Expectations were being rewritten. And while much of the public focused on the excitement surrounding Charlotte's rising position, one person was reportedly experiencing the news very differently. But while supporters celebrated the announcement, one person reportedly viewed it as a devastating personal defeat. Those close to the palace claimed that what happened next stunned even people who had witnessed decades of royal family disputes. Until that moment, much of the tension had remained hidden behind carefully maintained royal composure. Publicly, the institution continued projecting stability. Privately, however, reports suggested that emotions were beginning to boil over. The announcement surrounding Charlotte's future had not simply altered expectations. It had disrupted assumptions that some individuals believed would never be challenged. And according to persistent palace whispers, few people felt that disruption more deeply than Queen Camilla. Those familiar with royal dynamics claimed that the reaction behind closed doors was immediate and intensely emotional. Whether every detail of those reports was accurate remains impossible to know, but one theme appeared consistently throughout the speculation. Feelings of betrayal had allegedly surfaced. For years, many observers believed Camilla had worked carefully to secure her place within the institution and protect the interests of those closest to her. Now, according to insiders, she was reportedly confronting a reality in which influence appeared to be moving in a direction she could neither control nor easily accept. What made the situation especially painful, according to palace rumors, was the growing concern regarding her family's future position. The discussion was no longer limited to Charlotte herself. Instead, it touched broader questions about legacy, prominence, and relevance within the next generation of royal life. As Charlotte's importance appeared to grow, speculation intensified regarding who might benefit from the shift balance of influence and who might find themselves increasingly pushed to the margins. For those already worried about losing their place, the announcement felt less like a celebration and more like a warning. As emotions intensified, reports of heated conversations began circulating among royal watchers. Senior figures were rumored to be engaging in difficult discussions about the institution's future. Long-standing disagreements that had remained dormant for years allegedly started resurfacing. Old frustrations found new life. Historical tensions that many believed had been resolved suddenly seemed relevant once again. The atmosphere became increasingly charged as different perspectives collided. Some argued that the monarchy's future demanded bold decisions. Others questioned whether such dramatic changes risked creating unnecessary divisions within the family. At the center of the conflict was a growing divide between two competing visions. On one side stood those who believed tradition required adaptation if the monarchy hoped to remain strong in the decades ahead. They viewed Charlotte's rising position as part of a broader strategy designed to secure stability for future generations. On the other side were those who felt personal loyalties, family relationships, and established expectations deserved greater consideration. Neither side viewed itself as unreasonable. Yet the gap separating those positions appeared to widen with every passing day. The emotional toll of the situation reportedly became impossible to ignore. Every new conversation seemed to deepen existing wounds. Every attempt to calm tensions appeared only to reveal additional disagreements lurking beneath the surface. Supporters of Charlotte viewed the decision as a necessary investment in the future. Critics allegedly viewed it as a painful rejection of assumptions they had carried for years. The contrast was striking. For some, This was a moment of triumph. For others, it felt like a devastating loss unfolding in slow motion. Meanwhile, public interest continued growing. Headlines multiplied, speculation intensified. Observers watched closely for signs of reconciliation, but the situation appeared increasingly complicated. The deeper the controversy spread, the clearer it became that the royal family was approaching a crossroads. A choice would eventually have to be made. Not merely about Charlotte, but about the direction the monarchy intended to take moving forward. And that choice threatened to expose divisions that had remained hidden for far too long. As emotions erupted behind palace walls, the wider royal family faced a difficult choice: support the future or reopen old battles. For years, William and Catherine had avoided unnecessary conflict. This time was different. This time there would be no compromise. The controversy surrounding Charlotte's future had reached a point where silence was no longer possible. Rumors were spreading faster than official explanations. Emotions were escalating behind closed doors. Long-standing alliances were being tested. Yet amid the growing uncertainty, one thing reportedly became unmistakably clear. William and Catherine had made their decision, and there was no indication they intended to retreat from it. According to those following developments closely, the Prince and Princess of Wales viewed the situation as far bigger than a temporary family disagreement. To them, it was about safeguarding the future of the institution their daughter would one day help serve. For William, the issue reportedly carried both personal and historical significance. Having spent much of his life navigating the pressures of royal expectation, he understood the burden that comes with being viewed as the future. Insiders claimed he believed Charlotte possessed qualities that could strengthen the monarchy during an era of constant scrutiny and rapid change. As criticisms intensified and competing opinions emerged, reports suggested his support only became more determined. The greater the resistance, the firmer his position appeared to grow. Those hoping uncertainty might weaken his resolve allegedly found themselves disappointed. Catherine's role was equally significant. Throughout years of public life, she had developed a reputation for patience, composure, and careful judgment. Yet, according to palace whispers, this situation touched something far deeper. It was not simply about royal planning or institutional strategy. It involved her daughter. Reports suggested Catherine was prepared to defend Charlotte against both public pressure and private criticism. While maintaining her characteristic calm, she allegedly became one of the strongest voices supporting the path that had been chosen. Her determination reportedly surprised even some who had worked alongside her for years. Standing alongside them was Princess Anne, whose influence continued to loom large over the entire situation. If William and Catherine represented the future, Anne represented the enduring principles that had guided the monarchy through decades of challenges. According to those familiar with royal dynamics, she viewed stability as essential to the institution's survival. Her reported support reinforced the belief that Charlotte's growing role was not an impulsive decision, but part of a broader vision designed to strengthen continuity. Anne's involvement added credibility at a moment when questions were multiplying from every direction. Senior advisors reportedly echoed similar arguments. As tensions threatened to create deeper divisions, conversations increasingly focused on duty, continuity, and long-term stability. The message emerging from those discussions was remarkably consistent. The monarchy could not afford to become trapped by internal rivalries. Personal disappointments, however painful, could not outweigh the institution's responsibility to prepare for the future. Advisors allegedly emphasized that leadership required difficult choices, particularly when emotions and expectations collided. At the same time, considerable effort was reportedly being made to prevent further fractures within the family. Palace officials understood that every rumor risked intensifying existing tensions. Every leaked detail had the potential to deepen misunderstandings. Behind the scenes, attempts were allegedly made to calm concerns and preserve unity wherever possible. Yet maintaining harmony became increasingly difficult as public attention remained fixed on Charlotte. The more discussions centered around her future, the more symbolic she became. Gradually, Charlotte's role expanded beyond that of a young royal family member. In the eyes of supporters, she began representing something larger. She became a symbol of renewal, continuity, and the next chapter of the monarchy's story. Admirers pointed to her composure. Advocates highlighted her potential. Critics questioned the implications. But regardless of opinion, few could deny her growing importance. The debate was no longer merely about an individual. It had become a conversation about the future identity of the crown itself. Yet the deeper the palace tried to restore calm, the more one question continued haunting insiders. What made Charlotte the chosen figure at the center of such a historic decision? The answer may explain everything. By the time the controversy had reached its peak, one question echoed through royal circles more than any other. Why Charlotte? Why had so many influential figures reportedly placed their confidence in someone still so young? Why had conversations about the monarchy's future increasingly centered around her name? For critics, the answer remained difficult to understand. For supporters, however, the explanation had been building for years. According to those who closely followed developments within the royal household, Charlotte's growing importance was never based on a single moment. It was the result of countless observations, impressions, and experiences that gradually shaped how others viewed her potential. Those who admired Charlotte often pointed to a quality that is difficult to teach and impossible to manufacture: composure. Even while growing up under extraordinary public attention, she was frequently described as possessing a natural confidence that appeared far beyond her years. Not arrogance, not entitlement. Instead, observers often spoke about a quiet assurance that seemed remarkably unusual for someone carrying such immense expectations. Over time, those impressions reportedly began influencing how senior figures imagined the future. While many young royals attract public affection, supporters believed Charlotte demonstrated something more enduring. It was perhaps inevitable that comparisons would eventually emerge. Throughout royal history, certain personalities have left such a powerful legacy that future generations are measured against them. In Charlotte's case, some royal commentators and insiders began drawing parallels with Queen Elizabeth during her youth. The comparisons were never about identical circumstances. History rarely repeats itself so neatly. Instead, they focused on qualities such as steadiness, self-discipline, and an apparent understanding of responsibility. Whether those comparisons were entirely justified mattered less than the fact that they existed. Once such discussions began, they only seemed to grow stronger. At the same time, Charlotte's popularity among the public continued expanding. While public opinion can be unpredictable, many observers noted that she appeared to connect naturally with people. Interest in her future steadily increased. Every appearance generated discussion. Every glimpse of her development fueled curiosity. In a modern era where public trust can shift rapidly, some insiders allegedly viewed her ability to inspire positive attention as a valuable asset for the monarchy's long-term stability. Yet perhaps the most important factor was her unique position within the next generation of royals. She occupied a space unlike anyone else. Connected to the institution's past while representing its future, Charlotte stood at the intersection of tradition and renewal. As debates about modernization intensified, supporters reportedly viewed her as someone capable of bridging those competing expectations. She symbolized continuity without appearing trapped by the weight of history. In a family often defined by its challenges, that combination carried enormous significance. Reports also suggested that several senior figures increasingly viewed Charlotte as a stabilizing influence. During periods of uncertainty, institutions naturally search for individuals capable of inspiring confidence. According to Palace Whispers, Charlotte's growing reputation stemmed from the belief that she could help provide that reassurance. Not because she was expected to solve every problem, but because she represented consistency during a period of transition. The symbolism attached to her future role became almost as important as the role itself. That symbolism ultimately explains why the debate surrounding Charlotte became so intense. This was never solely about one young royal. It was about what she represented. To supporters, she embodied hope, continuity, and the possibility of a strong future. To critics, her rising prominence challenged long-standing assumptions about influence and succession. The more attention focused on Charlotte, the more significant the decision appeared. And as discussions continued to evolve, one reality became increasingly difficult to ignore. The monarchy was not simply preparing for tomorrow. It was actively defining what tomorrow would look like. But the true significance of the decision would only become clear when the palace finally looked toward the future. In the end, this story was never just about titles, influence, or family rivalries. It was about the future direction of the monarchy itself. As the controversy gradually settled and the immediate shock began to fade, a larger picture started to emerge. The debates, disagreements, and emotional reactions that had dominated palace conversations were only part of a much bigger story. Beneath every headline and every whispered rumor was a question that had quietly shaped the entire conflict from the beginning. What kind of monarchy would survive into the future? The answer, according to many observers, was now becoming clearer. The institution was looking beyond present disputes and focusing on the generations that would eventually inherit both its privileges and its burdens. At the center of that vision stood Princess Charlotte. What had once been speculation had evolved into something far more significant. Her growing importance was no longer viewed simply as a temporary development or an interesting royal storyline. Instead, she had become a symbol of the next era. Supporters believed she represented continuity during a period of uncertainty. Others viewed her as proof that the monarchy was preparing itself for a changing world. Regardless of perspective, few could deny that her position within the royal narrative had fundamentally changed. That transformation revealed an important truth about the institution itself. Throughout its history, the monarchy has survived because it consistently placed long-term stability above short-term comfort. Difficult choices have often been made not because they pleased everyone involved, but because they were viewed as necessary for continuity. According to those who defended the decision, the same principle was at work here. Personal interests, private disappointments, and competing ambitions could not outweigh what many believed was best for the crown's future. The institution, as it had done countless times before, appeared determined to prioritize continuity above all else. For Camilla, however, the situation reportedly carried a very different emotional weight. While supporters focused on Charlotte's rise, reports suggested that disappointment lingered among those who felt excluded from the future taking shape around them. That contrast became one of the defining elements of the entire story. On one side stood the excitement surrounding a new chapter. On the other stood the frustration of watching influence shift in unexpected ways. It was a reminder that every major decision creates both winners and losers, celebrations and regrets, hope and disappointment. Meanwhile, William and Catherine's long-term vision appeared to be moving steadily forward. According to palace insiders, they had spent years preparing for a future that extended far beyond daily headlines and temporary controversies. Their focus remained fixed on the next generation. Every decision, every lesson, and every carefully managed step was reportedly part of a broader effort to strengthen the monarchy for decades to come. Whether critics agreed with that approach or not, its impact was becoming increasingly visible. Public reaction only reinforced the growing significance of the moment. Interest in Charlotte continued expanding. Discussions about her future attracted enormous attention. Admirers praised her composure and potential. Commentators debated the implications of her growing prominence. Yet through all the noise, one reality remained remarkably consistent. Charlotte had become a central figure in conversations about the monarchy's future. Her name was now linked to questions of leadership, continuity, and long-term stability in a way that would have seemed unimaginable only a few years earlier. Perhaps that is why the lasting impact of this decision may not be fully understood for many years. The consequences extend beyond any individual disagreement. They reach into the future, influencing how the next generation of royals will be viewed, prepared, and ultimately remembered. The decisions being made today could shape the monarchy long after current controversies have faded into history. That possibility explains why emotions ran so high throughout this story. Everyone involved understood that something much larger than a family dispute was unfolding. And while the arguments, frustrations, and palace whispers may eventually fade, one reality remains impossible to ignore. The future of the monarchy now carries Princess Charlotte's name more prominently than ever before. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.